The holidays are here. That means the Hallmark Channel is operating at its absolute zenith, and your favorite streaming services have graciously queued up all the tried and true perennial Yuletide staples. Personally, we can't get enough of Clark Griswold botching Christmas, something relatable about losing your shit during a family get-together, am I right?
Hallelujah! Holy shit!
But we think it's time to open up the Christmas movie lexicon. So today, we are coming in hot! And dropping our picks for the best alternative Christmas movies. If you enjoy a good Christmas movie this time of year, click the like button below. Before we get started, we know what you're thinking. Yes, the timeless tale of burnt-out NYPD detective John McCain's rise to redemption set against that rager of Christmas Party is more than enough to make Die Hard an alternative Christmas classic. But, spoiler alert, Die Hard is not on this list. The internet has spoken, and the 1988 action thriller is an established holiday watch for many.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Enough jabber. Here is Hey 10's top picks for alternative Christmas movies. Number 1. Trading Places. The old switcheroo, a tried and true plot device that we have seen countless times in Hollywood. We aren't knocking it, it works. And none may have done the old switcher gimmick with more laughs and more heart than 1983's Trading Places. By the 1980s, director John Landis had proved himself to be a master of transitioning Saturday Night Live alums into full-fledged comedic film stars. Originally written for the proven comedic powerhouse of Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, Landis would instead turn to SNL alumni Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Aykroyd stars as a young blue-chip commodities broker who is unknowingly forced to switch lives with a wisecracking street hustler played hilariously by a young Eddie Murphy. Unbeknownst to them, both men are pawns in a large wager and experiment of nature versus nurture. The callous and wealthy brothers at the helm of the switch are portrayed by Golden Era Hollywood veterans Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici. Set in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the winter months, the movie ties to Christmas run deeper than the snowy cityscape backdrop and the burnout Dan Aykroyd Santa. The comedy follows a long tradition of holiday films that hold true to the themes of redemption and living a life more considerate of others.
Merry Christmas!
Number 2. Gremlins. Heavyweights warned us not to put Twinkies on our pizza. Alien let us know that no one can hear you scream in space. And Gremlins made it clear that feeding a mogwai after midnight is a bad idea. But what Gremlins really taught us is that a horror comedy film can make for some great seasonal watching. Directed by Joe Dante, the film depicts a small town's descent into chaos after a father bestows his son with an exotic gift. Snow-kissed suburbia, a cute little creature, and tales of a father dressing as Santa only to get stuck in the chimney and die.
He slipped and broke his neck. Died instantly. And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
We didn't say this was a merry list. Anywho, by 84, director Joe Dante had established himself as an authority in the genre of horror and comedy, with movies like Piranha and The Howling. Gremlins featured a script penned by a young Chris Columbus. No, not that one. This one. Yeah, him. The Home Alone and Harry Potter directing one. More on that later. Spoiler!
You son of a
The picture boasts a humble mastery of blending the comedic and horrific. So much so that the film was a challenge for the MPA when it came time to rate the movie. Little known fact, this Spielberg-produced sleeper hit is one reason for the rollout of the PG-13 rating, which was implemented only a month after this Gremlins release. If you were thinking a PG-13 inducing film is questionable for a Christmas movie list, turn away now. We are about to hit a hard R. Number 3. Lethal Weapon. The next entry on our list, 1987's Lethal Weapon, partners Mel Gibson, a reckless narcotics officer with nothing to lose, with Danny Glover, a conservative veteran of the LAPD. The quintessential buddy cop movie is also the quintessential rated R holiday slugfest. This movie boasts a truckload of F-bombs and a snow flurry worth of flying fists and bullets, but there are plenty of gags to help hold this one together as a fun, action-fueled ride. Directed by the legendary Richard Donner, this 1987 blockbuster was the first of a trend for screenwriter Shane Black, who penned this script fresh out of UCLA's film program. Black would draft many scripts set against the Christmas season, so you can rest assured you may hear his name again on this list. But not before we show you this again. That never gets old. But maybe it does for that guy, Blackie Dammit, who you probably didn't know is Anthony Kiedis' dad. Yeah, that Anthony Kiedis. We digress. Moving on. Number 4, 101 Dalmatians. The 1990s were a very different world. No social media, no smartphones, and no endless cycle of live-action Disney remakes. Before the House of Mouse committed to the formula of adapting their animated classics into live-action CGI fests, the studio took an early stab at the process with 1996's 101 Dalmatians. Inspired by their 1966 animated feature, based on the 1956 novel, the story follows a young couple whose new litter of Dalmatian puppies are stolen at the request of a crazed fashion house owner, Cruella de Vil. With a penchant and passion for animal fur, the villainess devised a plan to turn these lovable pups into high-end fashion garments. The film capitalizes on the talents of Glenn Close as she takes center stage. Seizing the opportunity, Close would go on to receive a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress for her portrayal of the role. Notable as well in the art department and costume design, all of which successfully bring the House of DeVille to life. While not heavy on the Christmas element or setting, the winter months and landscape are enough to make this feel right for watching during the chilly holiday months. Number 5. Batman Returns. We understand that not everyone shares the same sentiment towards the more festive and merry side of this time of year. So for our next pick, we have the brooding, cold, and dark Batman Returns from 1992. Burton and Warner Brothers were coming off the absolute massive success of the 1989's Batman, and for this sequel, the directors were given the freedom to take things to the darker side of Wayne Manor. Up until 1989, outside of the comics, the general public's concept of Batman was steadfast to the kick, pow, boom camp of the Adam West-led 1960s series. Burton is responsible for first translating the darker side of the Caped Crusader to the masses in 1989, but it was the 1992 sequel that truly cemented Batman as having a more widely recognized edge and noir tone. Filmed entirely on a soundstage, the movie is as spatially dark as it is tonally. Endless snowbank streets, a Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and gift-wrapped packages exploding with murderous killer clown henchmen and vindictive circus performers. All of that to say, Burton had an interest in telling stories and exploring characters, while Warner Brothers were looking to sell more toys.
Where Batman Returns is on a dramatic series of 32-ounce collector cups with fine, crispy Bat-disc lids straight from the movie.
The conflict of interest forced the now famed neo-Gothic director to leave the world of Gotham behind, but not before providing us with one of the most chilling and memorable entries of Batman yet. Number 6. Grumpy Old Men. The winter months can be frigid and challenging. That may also be the way to describe the friendship dynamic between Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau's characters in 1996's Grumpy Old Men, which also happens to be our next pick. In this 90s sleeper hit, Lemmon and Matthau star as lifelong friends who have remained at odds in their adult years. Their ubiquitous resentment and vexation for one another propel a movie full of hilarious pranks, insults, and stunts. A product of its time, the quality of the humor can still inspire laughs today, due entirely to the chemistry of the two stars. The special dynamic between them was so apparent that the two would go on to recreate the film's magic in a sequel and several other like-minded old man buddy films through the remainder of the decade. The classic buddies at odds tension is enough to keep the laughs rolling, but it's the film's setting amongst the frigid Minnesota winter and the depiction of families gathering for the holidays that justifies Grumpy Old Men as a strong seasonal watch. Number 7. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Nothing says Christmas like action, thrills, and suspense. At least that's what screenwriter Shane Black thinks. His second entry on our list is his 1996 spy flick, The Long Kiss Goodnight. Gina Davis stars as a small-town teacher who, over the holidays, finds herself in a severe car wreck. Left with a bad concussion that mysteriously unlocks a specific set of skills, truths begin to unravel that thrust Davis's character into a whirlwind of discovering who she truly is. Potentially a lot to spoil here, so we will keep the synopsis at that. New Line Cinema, famously known as the house that Freddy built,
Welcome to my world.
because of its penchant for small-budget genre flicks, used Long Kiss Goodnight as its entry into the big-budget action genre of the 1990s. Hollywood mainstays and character action aficionados Samuel L. Jackson and Brian Cox help round out the cast in a film that very much feels of the era, in a good way. The Long Kiss Goodnight is a definitive spy ride of the 90s, as much as Goldfinger is a time capsule worthy representing of the 60s. Spy thrillers may not seem capable of carrying any relation to Christmas, but rest assured, Shane Black found a way.
Die screaming, motherfucker.
Give it a watch and see why it made our list. Number 8. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Magic and wonderment are inherent to the holiday spirit. Gifts mysteriously appearing beneath the tree, flying reindeer, and a rather rotund man being capable of slipping through every chimney in the world in a single night? It doesn't get more magical and mysterious than that, until you start talking about wizards, which gets us to our next pick, 2001's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Based on the massively successful book series of the same name by J.K. Rowling, Warner Brothers called upon established Hollywood director Christopher Columbus when it came time to bring the robust literary wizard world to life.
Hello.
As a skilled screenwriter and director, Columbus had a knack for presenting young characters as more than just children. Rather, he presents younger characters as intelligent, curious, and adventurous. Previously, Columbus had much success perfecting this techniques in films such as The Goonies as screenwriter and Home Alone as the director. In the film series' first installment, we follow a young Potter as he finds himself thrown into a new world, embarking on an incredible journey of new beginnings and reality-altering events, which coincidentally is exactly how I felt the first time I had a Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell.
Whoa! My body's gone.
Perhaps not the deepest or richest of the Potter films, Sorcerer's Stone nonetheless set the stage for all 7 films that would follow. The world Columbus and his team created is full of visual whimsy, detail, nuance, and the ethos of magic is everywhere. The icing on the cake is a Hogwarts school decorated for Christmas and a calm snowfall in the beautifully dressed Great Hall. Who doesn't enjoy a little holiday magic? This just so happens to be a movie with a little extra, and in the literal sense too. Number 9. Iron Man 3.
Jarvis, drop my needle.
No Winter Tale of Redemption is as synonymous with the season as Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, but this is an alt-Christmas list, and our resident Dickens, Shane Black, took his stab with 2013's Iron Man 3, not only serving as screenwriter. Black also stepped behind the camera with this one, replacing Marvel and Star Wars aficionado Jon Favreau.
This is the way.
If you have learned anything from this list, it's that Shane Black will attempt to use Christmas as a setting in most of his films no matter the decade, film rating, or genre. Oftentimes in Hollywood, Christmas is portrayed as a season of new beginnings, hope, and introspective self-examination to a better self. And while Tony Stark may not be in as deep of a moral hole as Ebenezer Scrooge, he is nonetheless on a path towards redemption.
Technically, I am.
Technically.
The Iron Man series gradually expands on the war-profiting playboy turned superhero's journey of self-discovery. The film follows Stark in his efforts to right his wrongs and redeem himself from his life's shortcomings. And while Scrooge's revelation plays out over a single night, Stark's arc carries through Iron Man 3 and beyond, climaxing in the epic that is Avengers Endgame in 2019. As much as Stark is battling aliens and powerful rivals, he also battles himself. And who doesn't relate to that?
Merry Christmas, buddy.
Number 10. Hook. December is a time of year where the world seems to be a little more fantastical, magical, and hopeful, qualities all of which we find inherent to our next pick, Steven Spielberg's 1991 unsung classic, Hook. Spielberg himself has admitted to having great difficulty with coming to terms with aging and suffering from Peter Pan syndrome. Taking inspiration from J.M. Barrie's 1911 novel Peter and Wendy, Hook's story introduces us to Robin Williams' portrayal of an adult Pan who had left Neverland to fall in love, grow old, and forget entirely who he was and where he came from. Wait, are we still talking about Peter Pan, or is this the synopsis of Married with Children? The film opens up with Pan's family leaving the warm American suburbs during the holidays to land in the snow-kissed old world setting of classic London just before Christmas.
Uncle Toodles.
It's snowing!
Boasting stunning ornate sets, vibrant characters, and an impeccable John Williams score, Neverland was meticulously brought to life and has never looked better. Side note, in our estimation, no film has such diverse who's who cameo appearances as Hook. Here's the checklist. Have fun. Carrie Fisher, George Lucas, Phil Collins, Jimmy Buffett, David Crosby, Glenn Close, Gwyneth Paltrow. Hook may have some plot and pacing issues, so says Spielberg's critics, but there is no denying the level of heart and magic in this film, making it perfect for the Christmas season.
To live will be an awfully big adventure.
And that's our list. Thanks for joining us for Hey 10's top picks for alternative Christmas movies. Enjoy the list? Click the like button below to let us know. Did we leave any unsung alternative Christmas doozies off the list? Let us know by leaving a comment and sharing your favorites. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button and click the bell to stay up to date every time we add a video to Hey 10's.